HFMA officer installation, and this is also a time to honor the current leadership that are in the fiscal year 20 term. And wanted to start out just by thanking all of you for participating in this virtual installation. We appreciate your flexibility to do something. Well, actually, it's not that different now because you've all probably done a million Zoom calls. So it's to do yet another Zoom call. We appreciate you doing that. As you know, we had to cancel our spring conference and also our Alaska conference for that matter, which would have been occurring tomorrow. And that was the right thing to do, but it was disappointing because the program people had put in a lot of great work, and really want to thank them for basically putting together a great conference, probably the greatest conference that never happened. We had great networking events planned and great educational content. The good news is we have all those ideas and speakers for maybe webinars and future events. And for anybody that's on the call from Alaska, we were really hoping to make it up there today, actually, and for the conference tomorrow, and unfortunately that didn't happen. But rest assured, like I said, we're going to be doing webinars to get content out. There's a lot that we're already advertising in our blast to our members. The association is doing webinars, and we hope to get back to Alaska next May. So stay tuned for that. And I'm going to start out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start out with just honoring some of the people that through their volunteerism have deserved special recognition this year, and the officers and board all deliberated these nominees, and very pleased to present the results here. Then Ben Shaw is our regional exec for Region 11, and he's joined us, so we appreciate that. And he's going to do the honors of installing the new officers and board members. Then Mike, who will be the newly installed president, Mike Smith, with term of office starting June 1st, will say a few words. And then this meeting will be done. And for those of you that are on the board or the leadership team or just want to join us, there is a board meeting directly following this meeting at 4:45. So that's our agenda. So let's start out with the chapter awards. And if you're on the call and you hear your name mentioned, maybe wave to the camera and say something so Zoom highlights you or brings you up to the top or makes it so people can see you. But we have the board voted, and it's been submitted to the HFMA National Office for 2 Lifetime Chapter Award winners. And I don't see them on the call, so we'll probably have to find another time, Mike, to honor these folks. But Janet Wathieu, I know many of you know Janet, was selected by us for the Lifetime Chapter Award, as was Catherine Wakefield. And so both of them were mainstays with our chapter for many, many years. Janet is still from time to time involved in her retirement, and Catherine Wakefield actually was one of my mentors as I came up through the HFMA ranks, and so she was, I think, in the head of compliance at Multicare for a number of years. So just was able to really show a shining example of what a volunteer should be. And so we'll be honoring those two more at a later time, because that's a huge achievement to get the Lifetime Chapter Award. So if you get a chance, thank them. And then we also do our annual Overall Chapter Contribution Award. And the recipient of this award gets a paid free registration and trip to either Western Regional Symposium or the annual conference. And so it's going to be pretty cheap for the chapter this year, since the annual conference is virtual. Just kidding. Whenever that does happen in live again, they'll be able to use their award money, if you will. But the two, we had two great candidates, and we ended up instead of just selecting one, we actually selected two candidates this year. And so the first one is on the call, Nicole Watchman. If you want to wave to the camera.
Thank you.
Congratulations, well deserved. And so hopefully Western Regional Symposium happens, and you might choose to use it at that or in next year's annual conference. And then I'm trying to see, I don't think I see Cameron Marks on the call, but Cameron Marks is the other recipient of our annual Overall Chapter Contribution Award. And so you may recall he really helped with the keynote committee and led this year's fall conference with the remote access, which was a huge success. I think there was well over 100 people on remote. And Nicole basically has done everything we've ever asked if she's interested in. And so she's very willing to help out wherever. She helped out with networking this last year and stepped up for that. Membership support. To many, she's the face of the chapter, smiling face. And so that's always welcome, and just lots of energy. So we appreciate that, Nicole. All right. The next awards are the President's Awards, and that's an award that I get to, or as president, in my current role as president, the president gets to select. And I did seek input though, because there's lots that happens even that the president doesn't see. And so I did seek input from the other leaders and officers, and we had some really great candidates, and I actually selected 3 people that I thought were deserving of the President's Award recognition. Wendy Gibson is the first awardee, and as you may know, she's talk about energy. She has a lot of energy, and spearheaded the women's event this last year, which was a huge success at the Renton campus of Providence. Had people online. We videoed it in very quality video team at Providence, and had quite a bit of attendance at the meeting as well, with breakout sessions and different activities for them to do. It was a planning feat to bring all that together. And she's been very active in the enterprise membership, and with the Providence enterprise membership, it spans not only our chapter, but spans multiple chapters across the country because of the different footprint that Providence has. And I've seen her in action, kind of coordinating with those other chapters on how they could reach the Providence enterprise members and through those chapter efforts. And she's and National has been participating in those calls as well, and I think learning from kind of that coordination effort that she brought to that to that role. Then the other one that has probably won every single award we've ever given out and is Tom Mueller. Really wanted to recognize Tom this year. As you know, he's kept our founders points. That's been his role on the leadership team. He's going to be transitioning that now to others. But he's just been, even in retirement, he's just been super supportive of the chapter and achieved the Lifetime Achievement Award, and shows up at meetings, and just lives and breathes HFMA, and just a really great role model for that. And especially with him kind of transitioning the founder point and role to others this year, wanted to make sure we recognized him this year. Then Christine Patton, who is on the call. Can you wave, Christine? Yeah, there she is. Really stepped up in a big way, particularly with the development of the early careers program. And a lot of chapters look at us when I've gone to the different presidents meetings and the annual meetings that we do, and talk to other chapter leaders. They really are envious or would like to see in their chapters what we've done in ours in that regard. And so that, putting that in place, and hopefully that will carry on, was a huge contribution to the chapter. So thank you, Christine. And the next one is the Rising Star Awards. So we have lots of rising stars. So it really gives me and the leaders comfort that we have all this great energy within our chapter, with people that are, a diverse group of people, including diversity in age, which is a good thing. And I think we're blessed and fortunate that we can look at, the up and coming rising stars and see and have comfort that the chapter is going to be in good hands going forward. And that's probably the number one thing you can do when you come into leadership is leave the chapter in good hands. And so I'm fortunate in that regard. So our rising stars are Melissa Westland, who's on the call. There she is. Hi, Melissa. She got her headphones on. Thank you for all the work that you've done. And I know you were also very involved in the women's conference, and just has probably your claim to fame too among the leadership group is what you've done with the mentorship program. So we really appreciate that, Melissa.
Thank you.
Greg Menninger he's been involved with Randy on the sponsorship and kind of really helping out with, as you may know, we created a business partner relations and sponsorship chair position, and he's kind of served as a co-chair to Randy in that regard, and has done a great job with that. So thank you, Greg, wherever you are out there for that. And then Chris Kuhn with the new member welcome, and just dove right in to try to get involved with the chapter. There's another one of our rising stars. And then Harold Wilson as well is our fourth rising star. So if you know those people or want to give them a shout out, please do so. We'll recognize them.
I think Harold's online, actually.
What's that?
Harold's online as an attendee. I can see his name.
Oh, you see his name? Okay.
Yeah, and so is Greg Menninger.
Oh, yes. Okay. So there's probably more people that I can see here on my screen. So Greg, if you say something, you might pop up to the front and wave your hand. There's Greg. His video is not on, but there he is.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting into the settings.
Okay. So and toward the bottom left is the start video button.
Yeah.
And then you said Harold's on. Harold, did you want to say something? There he is. There's Harold.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thank you both for your contributions to the chapter. I'm glad you were able to make it on and hear your recognition. I appreciate it. And so we also have 2 business partner awards to recognize this year. So these are business partners that have been faithful to the chapter. And I really want to do a shout out to all of our sponsors and our partners out there that have been supportive of us as we've had to cancel events, and they don't get the chance to network, and when that happens as much. And some of them have provided content for webinars related to COVID or other things that have helped continue to get education out to our members. And they're sticking with us. We're not getting the messages saying, hey, I want to pull my sponsorship dollars away because I didn't get the value. They're trying to work with us on, how can we move forward and what are other ways to get value. Maybe they can sponsor a webinar or get recognized in a webinar. But 2 of the sponsors really stood out this year. And it's really a culmination of year after year contributing to the chapter. And the 2 business partner awards this year go to HRG. And as you know, Rick served in leadership for Rick Lewis at HRG, served in leadership for the chapter for quite some time, and been very involved in sponsorship and trade fair and programs, and did the leadership track because of some transition, had to serve 2 years as president, and I can attest that that deserves an extra thank you. And so really he's been involved at the national level and regional level with Western Regional Symposium. And then the other one is Merchants Credit. So big thank you goes out to Merchants Credit for their years of sponsorship and involvement in committees, and just really been a partner all the way along. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If anybody from Merchants Credit or HRG is on the phone, if you want to say anything, feel free to do so. Okay. Don't hear anything. And so the other group I'd like to thank is, as outgoing president, I want to take this time to thank my fellow leaders and the whole board. I want to thank, but also the officers. Becky Litke, who preceded me as president. Just thank you to Becky for mentoring me in this role, and even as a past president, staying active and having the history there. It was nice to lean on that as we would have our officer calls, and was there for us throughout the year. Mike Smith, of course, I mentioned before, one of the best things you can do as a leader is leave it in good hands. And I always like to say, you always want to bring someone up behind you that's smarter than you. And so I think Mike's going to do a great job. And so thank you to Mike. Jesse, who's going to be president-elect, he is, talk about energy. I think Jesse could probably do 4 or 5 different jobs at one time and still have time for, running his farm. And so he does an outstanding job for the chapter. Cami has served a number of years as part of the HFMA and has done double duty with an extended term as treasurer. So thank you, Cami. And then Marnie with the programs. And like I said, she, unfortunately, her signature event, the spring conference, is the one that never happened, but there was other conferences that she helped plan, and she's still actively mentoring Cameron, the new VP of programs. And so, thank you to all those officers, and also want to take the time to thank DeMars and the team, Melissa Hale and Alyssa Massey at DeMars and the whole DeMars team. They really take a huge burden off of this association that's really completely volunteer run. So thank you to everybody. And I guess if you guys, all the officers I mentioned, if you want to send me your addresses, I have a little gift for you that I'd like to send your way. So maybe email me your addresses. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ben to do the officer installation.
Thanks, Vince. And thanks for inviting me to do this. I'm Ben Shaw. I'm the Regional 11 Regional Exec. And this is my third virtual installation. This is not what I thought I'd be doing with my last 6 months, but it's been fun. I've done Hawaii, and then I actually did Oregon earlier today. So I'm glad to do this, and I'm sorry I didn't get to come to one of your meetings. It was right at the beginning, I think, of the COVID stuff that your spring meeting got canceled. So sorry about that, but I will get to a meeting someday. I do live in Washington, and I get a lot of teasing, I would say, from Vince and Mike about not joining the Washington chapter. But I also like being alive, and my friends would probably kill me if I switched. Okay, so thanks for being here, and I'd like to acknowledge this is such a different scenario just because we're doing this virtually, but it's important to recognize the past and to look and appreciate the leaders of the future. So I'd like to begin with the officers who are completing their service for the 1920 term. These volunteers have given their time, attention, and hard work to help build the foundation on which this chapter is going to grow in the coming year. Current officers and directors, as I call you by name, if you're available, give the computer a wave at the camera so that we can recognize you. So past president was Becky Litke. President, Vincent Stevens. I'm just going to mix your names up now. President-elect Mike Smith. VP of Programs, Marty Leonard. Secretary, Jesse Meyer. Treasurer, Cami Matzek. And the directors that are completing their second year of their term, Steve Phoebus, Amanda Bennett, Stacy West, and Courtney Stevenson. And directors remaining for another year are Randy Blue, Richard Bogus, Amy Mueller, and Rebecca Rudd. So on behalf of the chapter, allow me to share our deep appreciation for your service and thank you for all that you've done. So, yay. Next, I'd like to present the officers that you've elected for the 2020-2021 term. That is a lot of 20s. As you all know, serving your chapter can involve a tremendous investment of time and talent, but it can also be an excellent opportunity to discover new things, develop new skills, and collaborate with colleagues. All of us are excited to see what this group of new leaders will bring to the table in the year to come. As I read off the names of the officers for the coming year, again, if you can just give a wave to the camera. Your incoming president, Mike Smith. President-elect, Jesse Meyer. Past president, Vincent Stevens. VP of Programs, Cameron Marks. Secretary, Dirk Bunker. Treasurer, Marnie Leonard. New directors are Melissa Westland, Christine Patton, Melissa Hill, Jennifer Reed, and Wendy Gibson. And our continuing directors are Randy Blue, Richard Bogus, Amy Miller, and Rebecca Rudd. To you newly elected officers and those continuing in office, I extend my sincere congratulations. I'm confident in the wisdom your peers have shown by electing you. We're all looking forward to your work. While the duties of individual officers are outlined in the bylaws, I'd like to take a moment to remind each officer and everyone what we're looking at them to provide. To the directors, final authority and direction of the chapter rests with the board. As you serve, I hope you can foster a spirit of unity, friendship, and fairness in determining the right course for the chapter affairs. To the treasurer, as finance professionals, I hardly need to stress the importance of responsibility of safeguarding the chapter's funds. The financial well-being of the chapter depends on you, and I'm certain you will make us proud. To the secretary, you keep the official records of meetings and serve as an essential liaison between the chapter and HFMA. I trust that you will do your best to keep the lines of communication open. To the president-elect, this is an especially important year for you. Take time to observe the functioning of the president within the chapter and consider how you might apply your own ideas in the year to come. And to the president, you've been chosen to lead the Washington, Alaska chapter of HFMA. We're depending on you to serve the interests of the chapter and to grow the chapter's presence and to foster an environment of fairness, communication, and openness. You've been given this special opportunity to guide the chapter at one of the most exciting and challenging, I would say, times in our association's history. I wish you the best of luck, and I'm confident you'll make us proud. To Vince, as the past president, you're completing your tenure as president. You now become a resource for those officers seeking someone who has stood in their shoes. I encourage you to make yourself available to any who come seeking your advice. Now, the fun part. For the incoming officers, will you please respond with, "I do," at the conclusion of the following questions. Do you, having been duly elected as an officer or director of the Washington, Alaska Chapter Healthcare Financial Management Association, hereby solemnly affirm to uphold the Constitution of HFMA and of your chapter, and agree to abide by and follow the bylaws of HFMA and your chapter?
I do.
There's only one person agreeing?
I do.
Okay. Do you promise to do your best to preserve the reputation and dignity of HFMA and your chapter?
I
Do.
Do you accept all of the responsibilities designated to your office?
I do.
I do.
Then by your acceptance, I hereby declare you installed. Officers, directors, and members of the Washington, Alaska chapter, I wish you every success in the year ahead. We're depending on you to work together to keep the chapter strong and vibrant. HFMA will be here to give our full support should you need it, but I'm confident there will be no challenge too large that this team here can't handle. I look forward to a wonderful year ahead, and on a personal note, just want to tell you how much I've enjoyed this last year working with Vincent and Mike. They've been outstanding representatives for you, and I know they will continue to be so.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Congratulations, everybody. Mike, do you want to take the podium? With mute turned off? Can't hear you, Mike. Yeah.
How's this? Is this better?
Oh, there we go. I thought you weren't going to have your glory moment for a moment.
There you go. What can I say? You know, and some people say I do my best when I'm quiet. So first of all, Ben, thank you for making the trek up to facilitate the installation. Also, you know, there's quite the lineage this organization has with the president's Jim Heilsberg picture was on there. I don't know if Peggy Ann's on, Rick, Becky, Vincent. Those are just the last, Jim was probably 10 years ago, and then the last 4 or 5 between the ones that were mentioned. Everybody has brought individual skills, and that's the nice thing about this team is everybody's got a different piece that they do best. And the greatness about it is we rely on those skills, the strengths of each individual person, so that we don't all have to do it ourselves. Vincent, yours to me was what you brought and taught me was you are a phenomenal organizer. You are very prepared, but yet it always comes across as silk. It's always smooth, and that your foresight and planning is exceptional. You made us reach for new stars, and a few we got, and a few we're still reaching on. But you provided great goals, and I truly appreciated the insight, the foresight, the planning. Those were gifts that you've given me over the last year. You're welcome. One thing that I would like to say is Becky on?
I haven't seen her.
Okay.
Haven't seen her on.
Okay, so one of the things we have a gift for you too, Vincent. You have some novel interests. You have a wonderful place out at Seaside. You've shared a little bit about. One of the things, you have alpacas. You have a little farm. You're the accountant within a farm. You've got different, and it's kind of a hideaway little place, but right on the east side. You also have a fondness for wolves, and you were sharing that extensively with me when we were in Colorado last year. And so as a thank you, the chapter has gotten you a gift to the Wolf Sanctuary down in Olympia.
Oh,
I hope you haven't been there,
Yeah.
but if you have a chance for a repeat visit. So anyway, it's just a gift of the chapter of our appreciation to you. Thank you so very, very much.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I guess I can say I'm being fed to the wolves after being president.
Depends if that's the presentation you want to make. That's your choice. So for the next year and beyond, undoubtedly the circumstances that we're up against, nobody has ever imagined that they were going to take place, or at least maybe Bill Gates and a couple of others, but that's about it. All the standard conference activity, the preparation for leadership development that the association puts on has all been canceled or put on a minimal virtual educational program. National conference, kind of the glory of the year is on hold. Hopefully we'll be able to have the president-elect's meeting in the fall. But there's so much of it, and then all of our conferences upside down. Alaska, we wanted to be there this year in May. We had to postpone it. We were going to September, and that deemed to be too early as well too. So we're excited to get up there in May, but we recognize it'll be 2.5 years since we've been there. And that's very unfortunate. We will create our entire lives of this organization is being turned upside down. We will create new models of business partnerships. We will create new models of education and socialization. We will survive through it, and we will thrive through it. And fortunately, with the team that we have and the depth that we have, I won't say it's going to be easy, but I think it's going to be collaborative, and we're going to be able to get it done. So the wonderful support of everybody, both the past leadership is still actively involved, the present leadership, and we've got just a fabulous crew coming up in the ranks. So I'm really excited about the year, very excited about the year. And to start off the year, we're gonna start with a little mini LTC. You should have received a invite for it. for its Friday afternoon, June 5th, for a couple of hours. Of course, it'll be all virtual, but we're going to kind of set things in motion, and I'll be following up with you later today or this week on just putting together that agenda or communicating the agenda out to everybody. So with that, keep it short, keep it sweet, Mike. Thank you very much for your investment in me and the continued support. And as Vincent says, you always leave it in the hands of people that are bigger and brighter and faster than you. And we've got that team coming behind me without any question at all. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for that, Mike, and thanks again to Ben and all the award recipients and all the leaders outgoing and incoming. And I do appreciate the gift. I do like wolves, and so looking forward to that. So I can say on one of my last meetings here that we actually ended on time. And I will let you all go. For those of you that will be joining the board,